Okay, what is up, friends? Just doing the final little touches on a deep dubstep tune that I finished up or started just this week. One of the fastest tunes that I've put together, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of myself. I wanted to share a little bit about my final mixdown process and how I make sure that everything is kind of up to scratch. Thought that might be handy. There's a cool rack that I use here, this little mix and master view rack that I made, which I want to share with the Discord. I'm going to simplify it a little bit, get rid of some of the extra things, but yeah, this is my creme de la creme. It's on the master on every track. I use it all the time. Basically, it allows me to listen to just the stereo, and it also allows me to listen to the high and the low. This concept's called the three extremes: the very side, the very highs, and the very lows. And so what that sounds like in practice, here's the tune. Right, and just the sides. You can also listen to the sides in the middle, monoed, if you wanted to. And then we can listen to just the lows. And we can listen to just the highs. And then we can combine it as well, so we can listen to just the highs and just the sides. And we can also check if there's much stereo information down the low end as well, which there really isn't in this tune. So that is so handy to be able to do, but you don't know what's what until you add a reference. So I've brought in the gold standard Jack Sparrow into this as a reference for my tune, because he's also kind of got this deep dub vibe going. Right, and so because I'm not running any actual processing on my master in this moment, J Sparrow is coming in as a mastered tune at the volume that it's supposed to, so I can listen to the stereo information of his song. And I can just switch on and off the solo and listen to my tune. And so the thing that stands out for me, he's got this really nice kind of reverb on his snare that's not in mine. My snare is really dry, and it's actually my snare is actually very present in the sides compared to his one. So if we come back here, oh. Also, his horns are super out in the wide. Mine, I don't really know how to do that right now for mine. So that's my sort of like horns in this tune. But generally, I just think that his sax is a lot brighter than mine, and my sax is a bit more like low. So I'm kind of okay with that. But yeah, that snare being in the wide, let's fix up the snare stereo information. So if I come over to my snare, jump onto Ozone Imager, you can see I've already kind of started this, but it seems like I haven't done enough of a job. So if I listen to just the snare, maybe I pull this down. Okay, so that's kind of brought the top out. And then what I might do is create a bit of a rack here. Let's go hybrid reverb. Make sure that the dry signal comes through. Turn this one down a little bit. Put it all the way wet. EQ it out. And let's have a listen. Right, so this is the stereo information, right? Double checking. We're just listening to the stereo information. Super long, not really what we want. So let's go for made for drums. What can we do? Snare ambience, that sounds nice. Make sure we just get it right on the snare here. Might go just straight into the convolution. Okay, cool. So it's very bright. So let's turn this down. What happens if we bring this up? Cool. All right, we'll bring in some of this algorithm one, maybe shimmer it a little bit. That's kind of giving us the feeling that we might have been looking for. So bring this down a bit. The size is going to kind of tune it a little bit. Let's have a listen to what we're doing without the stereo thing going on. So there's a bit of like a weird sort of artifact going on at this pitch. So I'm not really enjoying the shimmer. Maybe we'll try quartz. That's a bit nicer. Okay, in the whole mix. Alright, I think I like it here. And we'll tweak the decay a little bit. Okay, bring the volume down a bit. Cool. And we're going to listen to it in the sides, and we're going to compare it back to the reference again as well. Where's that snare? There it is. Interestingly, you can hear that he doesn't do it every time. So if we have a quick listen without the stereo on. He's kind of doing it alternating, so we can have a little play around with that as well. Over here, if we come up to the automation on it. Okay, cool. Let's figure out what feels nicest. Is it the 1 or the 2 that feels best? So if I go turn this off. Or the other way. Yeah, cool. Let's do it like that. So what we're going to do is basically automate this. So probably the easiest, quickest way that I can think of to make sure this is easy up and down kind of vibe, just map it to macro 1. Make sure the mapping, we liked it there at that sort of like -11 volume. And so now we can keep this on, turn automation on, make sure it's on there, turn it off there, and then on, and then off, and then on again, but we'll make it ramp up really close to it just in case there's any bits that we want. Cool. So if I duplicate this now, boom bala boom bala boom, everywhere there's a snare, let's go. Why is that not aligning? I might have made a mistake here. Let's go back. Ah, yes, I see what I've done. So essentially that is what I need to be duplicating. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, does that align so that the first one's on? Yep. Cool. And if we listen to just the sides, you can hear that reverb now. Cool. So that reference allowed us to create a nice little bit of atmosphere. Sometimes I get ideas because of other tunes. That's something that I might integrate into my next song now. This is how and why using references is awesome, because you learn things from the masters. Yeah. All right, anything else we can notice? Well, let's see if we can make this sax brighter. So listening to his tune, he's also got that really loud, like, I don't really have an element like that in my tune, and I'm probably okay not trying to figure that out. But if we have a listen to this. Okay, and then if we listen to just normal. Okay, so what's going on this rack? We can turn up the highs a little bit, but that doesn't sound very nice. So if we go, I've got a couple ozone images doing their thing here. You can see I've already given it a bit of a boost. Maybe if we give it a bit of a boost sort of in this range as well, and a bit on the top end. We can have a listen in the stereo image, what that just sounds like. So that definitely like brought it more into focus, turning that off and on. It's minimal. Can't really hear a big difference. Sometimes what I like to do as well is like run these through sort of parallel chains. So you can see I've sort of brought it into mono, and then I want to just make sure that I also have a dry chain, and I might even put this utility on that and just mono it. So I have a totally mono signal. Probably need to blend this in a little bit. I'm going to listen to this without the stereo. Oh, what was I working on if it wasn't that? That's funny. Where's it gone? That is so strange. Drippy Cave. Cool. Okay, well, let's see what... Okay, sorry, making sounds with my mouth there. That's funny. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And it looks like... Oh, no, I did edit that one. I must have gone up there. So we'll go group and same sort of thing on this one. I'm going to have to double check that what I did back there is okay. Look for a utility. Bring that guy in. Mono. You can kind of hear it's adding a nice bit of presence to the mix overall, and we can give this whole thing a bit more of a boost into the stereo image. I'm not going to push these highs too much, but I'm just going to let a little bit more of this higher one in. Signal is still balanced. That's what we want. Pull this up a bit more as well. Whoa, starting to lag a bit. Nice. Just going to chuck some OTT on this just to see if I can get it to sound a bit more brighter. I don't hear a difference, so I'm not going to bother. No worries then, no worries, no worries. Let's have a quick suss on the stereo again. And then listening to Jackie's. So what I'm noticing in his song is just like generally a lot of the elements are much wider. Like the main focus elements. The idea with this sort of three extremes thing is that you should be able to recognize your song from the three extremes. So if we listen to my song, if I put it on just the sides. Sounds like there is a bit of phasing going on in the sub. Let's just double check that that's all okay and in phase. So if I just chuck an imager onto that. Yeah, so we're running like pretty positive here. We're not going to get any type of reduction, like the most minimalist amount of reduction. So that's okay. Get rid of that. So I'm okay with that being in the side like that. I know that it's not going to be negatively impacting on my mix. When it translates on a sound system, I like the feeling of it in the mix when I listen to the whole thing like that, so I'm not going to get rid of it. Oh yeah, so we listen to the sides, then we'll listen to the low. And his. So I've got a bit of a cleaner sub than him. That's okay. He's got a bit of a grungier song going on. The other thing is that my kick is a little bit more like oomping than his. So yeah, I was going to have a little tackle at that as well in this session with you guys. So what I was thinking is, because this is running out of a device, I could look at this and pretty much see if I can just cut the sample short. So So I kind of like that. So let's have a listen in the full. Just going to turn the click off. Not enjoying the click on this one so much either, so I'm going to pull that down a little bit. And put the click back in here. Just bring that buzz down. And then just kind of compare it to his kick.
I never thought about it commercially, really. You have dances and things like that, I'd buy.
Alright, come on, bro. The other thing I could try to do, which a little bit of a mess around, is like stretch out the sample a little bit more than the way it is, just because it's coming in a little bit fast. I think like what I'm going to try to do is basically bounce that into place. Yeah, control beat. And then I'm just going to duplicate this for now so I don't actually change the layer all that much. Turn that back on. Make this the sample. are you doing that? Let me just figure out if it's the key that's off. So maybe one more. C. Ooh. I'm just going through different keys now. I'm just trying out different keys. Alright, that might even be where we were before. I reckon it's one key off actually. For some reason this is all backwards. Yeah, that's the key, but I actually reckon this sounds a little bit nicer. Cool, just going to check on my my side chains now because I have a feeling that they might all be a bit off. So just make sure that's on the group. Yep. Okay, so if I look at my bass side chain, alright, I'm hearing, yeah, this is distorting because it's not going through a side chain. So I'll put it through the final side chain, which is just like a real transient. Yeah, a little bit better, but just gonna rock it. Alright, to be honest, not even actually what I wanted to do anyway. I really wanted to just like stretch this a little bit and see what it was going to do. Make sure that we've got it on complex. Too much. Yeah, not enjoying it stretched. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually kind of okay with that. I know that was like pretty minimal and left field to what's going on, but I actually like it more in this key. Yeah, this is kind of like my click. I just wanted to make it kind of feel real. Have this like bit of like a without it. This might be like oomping a bit too much as well. I could probably even bring this back a little bit. Now that I've kind of changed things around, I'm just going to make sure it's still hitting where I want it. snare could probably go down just like a little bit as well. Yo, so that's the 3 extremes. Oh yeah, last thing I really wanted to do from my last little listen, I had these elements in here. Sort of like watery sounds. These came just from a pack. I don't know, I was just going through perk loops and stumbled across them in my library. I like using Foley for this usually, but these worked really great. If I find the show in a browser, I'll show you. It's from the Scream Arts Essential Pack, Volume 1, Techie Perk. That's been sitting there for a long time. Right, so you can kind of hear that. But I'm pretty sure... Oh, I haven't... For some reason... It sounds very different. Probably just because of all the processing, to be honest. Let's have a look. Yeah, couldn't tell you what I did to it. That's made it sound like this. I might have pitched it a little bit and then rendered it or something like that. And then just kind of chopped it a little bit. But it's pretty much the original sample. You can hear this. I think it's just louder, really. And then, yeah, I've just transient shaped to added a bit of, like just kind of de-widened it a little bit because it's sitting too far in the stereo image in these ranges. And I think it still kind of is a little bit too wide in some of the ranges. And then also I feel like just generally I need an EQ on it. It feels really dry. And this even could be something to like send more into a reverb. Let's see what it sounds like. Just like a little bit, so without it, with it. Super subtle, but it's important. And I'm just gonna high shelf a little bit off as well. With the mix. Yeah, the reason being is when things are really high frequency content heavy, they sound really close to your ears. And listening to this on my phone, I was just really aware of this sound. Might even drop it down a level. 2 notches, 2 dB is usually a good like level for if you think I need it down a level. 2 dB drops are good. You could do 3 if you wanted to as well. But yeah, on my phone, I could just really hear that sound. It was so like loud in the mix on my phone. So I needed to pull it out. And I don't want it to really be this thing that feels like it's right in your face. I want it to sit a little bit further back in the mix. So a bit of reverb, puts it in the room a bit more, bit of highs off. Could probably put it down to the level. Okay, excuse me for that little disturbance in the matrix there. Little mate just popped into the stream. You can join the Discord if you want to come check out the streams while they happen. I stream just like pretty irregularly at the moment, but planning on getting some regular streams going on and also doing some beginner streams every week. So hit me up if you're interested in that, and I'll get you on the mailing list, the Discord, and soon to be Patreon to get access to those weekly calls. If you're a beginner or intermediate and you want to hone in on the fundamentals, this is for you. And I'll be answering questions over calls as well if you've got anything specific that you're interested in. But yeah, I think that was pretty cool. I hope that was insightful to you. Last little thing that I'll mention before you go is I love using ANSPEC the most out of like Span and ANSPEC. I've got ANSPEC and Span set up in special ways. Real quickly before I get to ANSPEC, Span I've just set up in a preset so that when you look at your song, you can see both the stereo and the mono moves at a certain speed that makes it easier to see. So if you get Span and ANSPEC, you'll get these presets in this rack, and ANSPEC I've just got it on the like 32 bands, and pretty much I just make sure that my sub hits about -3 under my kick, and my snare hits a little bit less, or just about where my kick is. Haha, I've done something. What have I done here? Yeah, soloed this, so. So yeah, I kind of just do a quick check, like kick, snare, and bass off the top of my head. Everything else kind of by ear, using the references. You can create like some ideas around exactly how many dB you want to be changing things to, but I don't really get into it all that complicated. So yeah, keep an eye out for this tune. Jump on the Discord if you want to grab this rack. It'll be in the here, I'll pop up the Discord for you to check out actually. So yeah, inside this forge is where we'll be putting racks and all the cool things. Lots of cool stuff going on the Discord, bit of a general collective space. If you're a producer, there'll be a question, it'll drop you into the producer space. We got general chat, place you can share your finished music, place you can share your whips, place you can share samples and presets and racks that you made, like what I'm doing now. Share your inspiration in here. And then there's like a couple different streaming rooms. So I stream on the Nexus or the Observatory, depending on what I'm doing. We've got another one here called the Wormhole, where everyone can sort of drop in too. Yeah, it's a fun place. Hey, look, there I am. I couldn't get my camera to work in the stream for some reason, but yeah. Peace to you. Go make some bangers, yo.